Hey friends, Carmel Holt here. As you know, times are tough for public radio and audio. And as a tiny independent feminist production company that makes SHEROES for public radio and for this podcast, we're getting hit pretty hard with financial shortfalls. Simultaneously, this is a moment where women, trans folks, non-binary, and queer folks need a safe space to be heard. And at SHEROES, we're more committed than ever before to our mission of turning up the volume of underrepresented voices in music. But to keep going, I need your help. And I have big news. SHEROES has partnered with the nonprofit AIR, the Association of Independents in Radio, and we've launched our very first fundraising campaign. You can text SHEROES to 53555 to make a tax-deductible donation through AIR or visit SHEROESradio.com. Thank you for supporting independent, femme and queer-produced audio and storytelling like the episode that you're about to enjoy. It's up to us whose voices get heard, and with your help, we'll keep turning up the volume.
I think music and honestly aging in a lot of ways helped me come to terms with my own body image and also my own confidence. I think there's like a large degree of unlearning you do in your 20s, some consciously, some unconsciously. And you know, I will say too, as the years have gone by, I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but I would say in the last 6 years, there's been a ton of body positivity movements, and you're seeing a wide diversity of sizes and different types of people. And yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful to see. And in the queer spaces too, I mean, people are showing up in all different kinds of ways. You know, there's not just one type of body, there's not just one type of way you're supposed to look or supposed to be. And it's awesome that we can celebrate that. And it's brought me a lot of confidence seeing people live authentically and just being true to themselves. It inspires me all the time.
That was Lily Trefilio of Beach Bunny, and this is SHEROES, a weekly podcast to amplify women, non-binary, and genderqueer voices in music across genres and generations. We believe that sharing our stories is the first step to making music better for everyone. I'm Carmel Holt. Chicago indie band Beach Bunny was once a solo project of this week's guest, Lily Trefilio. Lily first picked up a guitar in 5th grade and took some lessons, but didn't come back around to it till her late teens when she started playing some local gigs doing cover songs. Lily wrote her first song at 18, and then while attending college, she kept at it, uploading songs and performing solo, building her fan base. She put out her first EP under the Beach Bunny moniker in 2015 called Animalism. And then she put out 2 more Beach Bunny EPs as a solo project, Pool Party in 2016 and Crybaby in 2017, before expanding into a proper full band that same year. The turning point came in 2018 with their 4th EP, Prom Queen. The title track of that EP went viral on TikTok, and the band got their first record deal. Their debut full-length album, Honeymoon, arrived just as the pandemic was about to hit in 2020, and then a song from that album went viral, and at the end of that year, Honeymoon was hailed as one of the best of 2020 by the New York Times and Rolling Stone. Keeping pace with annual releases, Beach Bunny put out their 5th EP in 2021 called Blame Game, and their 2nd full-length album, Emotional Creature, arrived in 2022. So while a 3-year gap between albums is totally normal, for Beach Bunny, this is the longest pause between releases since Lily first began putting out music a decade ago. And as she'll share with us, the key that unlocked the creative path to this newest collection was learning that sometimes the best work comes from taking a break. As we celebrate the recent arrival of Beach Bunny's 3rd album, Tunnel Vision, I'm so happy to welcome Lily Trefilio as this week's SHEROES in the spotlight. Welcome, Lily Trefilio. Did I get that right?
You nailed it.
I practiced. Beach Bunny, welcome to SHEROES.
Thank you so much for having me.
Congratulations on this awesome new album, Tunnel Vision, your 3rd full-length album. And I know it's been a journey, so let's talk about it.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we've been doing music for about a decade now, but this album came at a point post-COVID with a lot of change happening in the world, a lot of change happening in our personal lives as we were like recovering from COVID as well. And yeah, I mean, it seemed more important than ever to talk about aging and the difficulties of living in a modern world, along with mental health, which was a huge thing for me starting the process of this album and throughout, for sure.
You were going through a bit of a writer's block as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just a lot of change all at once and a lot of pressure coming off a couple viral songs that led to like a bit of a spur of what do we do next? And what does Beach Bunny sound like when there's so many eyes, new eyes on us? And yeah, I just felt a lot of pressure as like a woman in the industry. And it took longer than maybe I wanted to come with this third record, but I think everything that needed to be said was said at the right time, ultimately.
Well, why don't we jump into a song here? Take us to whatever song you feel like would be a good entry point for somebody that doesn't know you, is kind of like walking into this fresh, that's like, this is us now.
Ooh, that's a great question. I mean, one that comes to mind, even though maybe it's a little bit of a more nostalgic feeling and like not as power poppy song on the record, but I just passed my birthday and Clueless was sort of a catalyst for this record in a lot of ways and has to do a lot with dealing with aging and change. So I think that song especially, like, it hits a sentimental place and in that way is kind of timeless.
Thought I'd be a different person, but it's just a different life. If I got married tomorrow, I'd feel like a teenage wife. How did I change? How did I?
So excited to have Lily Trafilio here with us on SHEROES. The new album's called Tunnel Vision. So I read a quote that said, I've never felt more close to Beach Bunny than with this record. Why do you feel so close to Beach Bunny now?
I think this last record really felt like a return to self in a lot of ways. You know, the first album we put out, Honeymoon, it was kind of in the chaos of finals week at the end of college. And it was just a lot happening in life. But there was like a sense of confidence during that time. And I think, again, you know, COVID and the aftermath and not really being able to like be in community and stuff like that was quite difficult. And this album in a lot of ways reminded me of the period right before Honeymoon came out where we were in a lot of DIY spaces and the music was shared in person, which is something we didn't really get to experience for a lot of our big moments in our career.
It's interesting to think about Beach Bunny as a project that spans your 20s. And you've already talked about aging. I didn't know exactly how old you are, but now I'm sort of getting it when you talk about like finals in college and where you are now. Like, so that would put you maybe towards your end of your 20s and Saturn return time.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm definitely, or at least I was feeling whatever that whirlwind that people describe, like, absolutely. In a lot of ways, I think that the record helped me work through a lot of those feelings. And like this birthday I just had, I turned 29. And normally on my birthday, it's a very bittersweet time. And I feel a little lost or sad even. But this year I was like just filled with whimsy. I didn't really feel down at all. So maybe the album helped in that way.
Yeah, and maybe you're over the hump now. Like you're on the other side of it. So let's talk a little bit about how you got started whenever you can trace your beginnings as a musician.
Oh, for sure. I mean, in high school and stuff, I was in a lot of like church choirs, so I've always been sort of involved in music spaces, but it really wasn't until college where it felt like everyone I met on the first week was in a band, which was super interesting. And they weren't music majors. It was just, yeah, everyone I talked to was like a creative person. And yeah, then I kind of joined the local music scene and met John, my bandmate, and yeah, it kind of took off from there. I mean, you know, I was doing like covers at Potbelly's Music. They have like a in-store musician program. So that was sort of my side gig. And then in the background, we were just sort of getting involved in like writing originals and performing at the Battle of the Bands and DIY Chicago pretty much.
Inspirations for picking up a guitar? Like what gave you the bravery to do that?
Honestly, I think the community I had in college. I sort of had talked about, oh, I have some songs and they're acoustic and it's sort of intimidating to just be by myself on a stage. But all of these bands were like, well, you can just, open for us and we'll play right after. So we can kind of share the stage in that way anyways. Like, you won't be alone. The whole room's going to just be your friends.
I talk about the guitar in this context a lot with women, and I hear varying stories. So I'm curious about yours. Like, was there any trepidation on your part as a woman picking up a guitar, or did you have confidence that came from elsewhere that took that away?
Maybe it is a mix of both. I mean, I'm still intimidated by a lot of stuff. Like, I don't really know much about gear or types of guitars or tones or anything like that even now. But I did take lessons in 5th grade, so I had like a good foundation of a couple years. I do understand what you mean, though, by the intimidation. I think it was more so like stepping into a music shop and being like, okay, well, which one do I get? And which one will kind of garner respect in a way, since I didn't really even know how that would be perceived. And yeah, I mean, certainly back in the day too, like being by myself and playing a small venue, there was times where the owner or bands I was trying to join definitely sort of rejected me in some sort of way for the act I was trying to do. So
Yeah. So did that shift for you at a certain point?
honestly, I think just gaining confidence from playing live often. And at that sandwich shop I mentioned earlier, I had to play 2 hours a week, just a bunch of covers. And oftentimes people would put in their headphones or like be working on their laptops. And that kind of gives you a thick skin in a way.
Right.
Which I think was helpful. And then, of course, having bandmates on stage now, it's like we're all leaning on each other and looking at each other. And if there's a weird moment in the set or the audience, maybe there's a disconnect, I can always feel like at least I'm connecting with them.
Yeah, that makes sense. We have Lily Trafilio here with us on SHEROES, and the new Beach Bunny album is called Tunnel Vision. So as we're talking about your early days of getting started, I thought maybe it would be fun to do an A and B of cycles. So what we're going to hear first is the original version of Cycles.
That was recorded, I believe, in 2019, 2017, one of those. It was sometime during college where I mentioned before, I don't really know gear, so I just used a podcast mic. And there was this music software called Audacity, and I figured out the 2 buttons I needed to press and just did a few live takes until I got it. And that song has always meant so much to me. Like, I love the message of just, I don't know, just being self-aware of the social roles and situations we're faced in, and that when you reflect on those, it's like you really can do anything. You don't have to follow tradition or follow anyone else's life journey. Like, the path is yours. And so it felt really important, with the album to kind of bring it to life again.
Why do you think that it was important to bring it to life again, like in the context of what you've just come through and being on the other side of it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of songs on Tunnel Vision that are society focused, for lack of a better word, and some inner dialogue I was having with myself of, okay, what's the right decision? How am I navigating my adult path? What does that look like day to day or even a 5-year plan from now? And I think Cycles has always felt like that kind of inner dialogue in a way, and it feels nice to have it out in the world again, with my bandmates in a new light and in a new chapter.
All right, so we just heard a sample of both versions of Cycles, one from 2019. I'm like imagining you in a dorm room, but I don't know if that's correct. Where were you when you recorded that first version?
I mean, essentially it was that. It was like a very early apartment I had with a close friend that was like dingy, and I was probably sitting on the floor next to a pile of laundry, just like playing keyboard.
And then on the new version, set the scene for us. Where were you?
So this kind of came at an interesting point where we were sort of like trying to dip our toe into the next album, but there was still a lot of songs to be figured out. So it was one of the first recordings we did in the studio, electrical audio, with someone we'd worked with before, Sean O'Keefe. And yeah, I mean, we just had a lot of fun, honestly. Like, we weren't sure if it was going to be a standalone single or something for a deluxe or a bonus track. So there's a lot of freedom in that to just have the skeleton of the song and be like, okay, well, we can add a little bit more and just play around with it.
Was that trippy at all to step back into that writing? Like, that's something that you had done as a younger version of yourself, and now doing it in like a legit studio with your band, with all of this road underneath your feet?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, even just in a lot of ways, I had to remember how to play the song again because it had been so long. But certainly, I mean, I think even with the original version and some of those other early demos that are out on the internet, you know, it's always been a hope that they would be recorded at a high quality and like, you know, you can do all that you can do. So yeah, it was kind of like felt like a gift back for sure.
I mean, it's like what somebody just asked me this the other day. I think I was at a dinner or something, and they asked the table, if you could have one do-over, what would it be? Or a year that you got to do a do-over. And like, what a dream to be able to have a do-over with something that, if you imagine who you were, who was Lily like when you were recording that next to the pile of laundry on a podcast mic? Could you have imagined that you would be where you were today? Like, probably not. We never know where we're going.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, even at that point into our career, we had one song sort of have a viral moment, but it wasn't like a sustainable music career. And now, you know, this is like our full-time livelihood. That's great perspective. That's actually really fun to feel that in my heart, you know?
Totally. And it also makes sense in the context of what you were saying before, where like you reconnected with what that feels like from your early DIY days and what music was about for you, you know?
100%.
This kind of sense of reconnection to like the actual like meaning of why you started doing this in the first place, you know?
For sure.
It's easy to get lost in the sauce, Lily.
Absolutely.
The music business will pull you under.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about it if you're willing. And also, again, if you would be so kind as to illuminate us if there was any part of that experience thus far in that last decade that you could put in the category of like, yeah, and also as a woman. Fill in the blank.
Sure. I mean, yeah, I think all bands have obstacles for sure. And
of course.
I mean, I think part of the unfortunate thing is a lot of the rumors you hear about the music industry in general, like some of them are true, you know. There are people that don't have great intentions. I mean, you see it with bands that you love and listen to all the time. You know, there's scandals and things that come out. So it's all been a learning curve, but, you know, I'm very grateful that like the team we have is secure in a safe space and respectful. And the people that haven't resonated, we've parted ways, and you live and you learn. And honestly, I think a lot of those parts on the journey, it's like if there wasn't pushback or obstacles, like maybe some of the music wouldn't be as interesting. Same with like relationships too. I mean, Beach Bunny's got a whole load of breakup songs and angry songs and stuff. And a lot of that I think stems from like unfortunate experiences that you learn from and can turn it into art.
That reminds me of a conversation I had at some point earlier this year, and I can't remember with who it was, but we were talking about the whole women in music thing. And they were saying that in a way, they almost saw the inequality as a positive thing because it gave them something to push back against. Like, and I'd never really
sure.
thought about it like that, but like, it's kind of a fucked up way of seeing it. I mean, no judgment, but I'm just saying it's kind of fucked up that we need that. But at the same time, I kind of understood it. It's like, right, like if you have an edge, like if everything's just soft, then there is no edge to push up against. There's nothing to keep the river from like overflowing the riverbanks or whatever the metaphor is,
Totally.
But like, so you could see like the patriarchy maybe it's like a little bit of a necessary boundary for all of our emotions and all of our
yeah, I mean, that's like all of punk music, right? It's like
right, that's
you need
true.
you need that. You need to talk back about someone.
Yeah, totally. Do you think that anything about what you do as a musician takes a stand in terms of like a feminist perspective or embodies anything along those lines?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I try to, but I'm also trying to just write about, I guess, my own experiences and not speak for everyone. Everyone's got, their own story and journey to tell.
Sure.
But certainly with our like biggest song, Prom Queen, I mean, that all stemmed from like I had a really hard time with some body issues and disordered eating. And then I had a friend that was experiencing something very similar and wrote that song as like a wake-up call because it was sort of hard to connect to her through any other way. And I've noticed in general, like throughout the years, that song has been a wake-up call for a lot of girls, especially, and men too. I mean, everyone's falling under this umbrella, right? So
I know.
Yeah, it's been crazy, but that one definitely, like, I was surprised at the response and the success of the song because it felt like this is just something for me, part of my diary, and something for this person I know directly. But yeah, I'm really happy that people have used it in a positive way and have sent me messages like, oh, this helped me get recovery and stuff.
Oh my God. I mean, that is like the greatest gift that you can both give and receive,
Totally.
Same thing as like, somebody saying, oh, I went to your show and it inspired me to pick up a guitar. I mean,
100%.
like, what could be better than that? do you have any stories like that you want to share?
Yeah. I mean, even this last year, this 14-year-old girl, she had written a little poster at the show and was like, I can play any Beach Bunny song. I was like, any? Wow. Okay. You are way better at me at that age. And she came up on stage and played with us. And I later saw that she had made sort of like a TikTok video of the whole experience. And she's been posting covers ever since and come to other shows. And I remember being 14 and like, feeling the same way about other artists. So it's super surreal and I still don't fully understand it, even though I'm so grateful. But it's super surreal how powerful music can be.
Well said. Who were some of those people? Who were your sheroes when you were 14?
Oh, I mean, well, it's honestly been really crazy that a lot of those people that I looked up to, we've been able to connect now, decades later. But there's these two girls that used to be on Disney Channel, Allie and AJ, who were sisters. And we got to play a show together last year. And I mean, they're the best. They're just like absolute sweethearts. But I definitely had my fangirl moment behind the scenes. This was one of my first CDs that I got to buy for myself.
Amazing.
And they totally inspired me to want to make guitar music, 100%.
Also, in one of your interviews, I don't know where I saw it, noticed that we're both Bethany Cosentino fans. Best Coast.
Absolutely.
Oh
so
my
good.
God. I mean, hail the queen. I love her so much. And she's been on this show.
See them live so bad.
I'm so happy that I got to. I don't know if it's going to happen again. So, yeah.
But at least we have the records. Yeah. I mean, those honestly were very formative in like early Beach Bunny. Absolutely.
And I mean, when I listen to your music and also like watch videos of your shows and stuff, it kind of gives 90s. Like,
Thank you.
Does. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. So I could see also how it could appeal to not just, younger generations, but also have an intergenerational vibe. Do you feel that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I you never know when you put out a song, like, who's gonna grab on, but
Hmm.
Beach Bunny shows are, like, very surprisingly diverse. I mean, we just played in London, and the entire middle of the room was, like, 45-year-old men. We're like, "Oh, okay, this is awesome,
Amazing.
but why are they here?"
Yeah.
And then it makes you go like, "Are they creepy? Are they weird?" No, they just love the music. That's
Yeah.
perfect. And then in the front, you have all the, like, 13-year-olds in matching outfits. And then, yeah, I mean, everyone in between. I feel so incredibly lucky that we get to experience that. And it seems to attract a lot of indie lovers and a lot of, like, rock lovers as well.
Yeah. Also, speaking of giving the 90s, just the whole like girls in the front is kind of carrying on the Riot Girl tradition. And I was wondering
Absolutely.
whether, yeah, so I was wondering whether there was any of that in play there. Shout out Kathleen Hanna and Bikini Kill. Like, do you take any inspiration from that era and anyone in particular?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think just that genre of all things punk, all things power pop. Absolutely. I mean, we love mosh pits. We love when people get a little rowdy and excited, but I don't know if you've noticed this at all. I think in the post-COVID world, people are, especially the younger ones, are learning how to attend concerts again.
Yeah.
So it takes a little bit of like call and response, like, hey guys, we're going to open up the pit together right
Yeah.
now. And then they get
Wow.
it. And then the rest of the show, they're jumping around and stuff. But that's been something I've noticed in the last like 3 years, that they'll be pretty still and kind of shy. But once you get them going, they know how to rock out.
Yeah, that whole girls to the front thing came about because it wasn't a safe space for women to be in. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, so I was wondering if you would talk about how you have built a safe space for women, for young women and queer people to be at your shows.
For sure. I mean, we're just honestly very lucky that I think the music has attracted a lot of really wonderful, really respectful people. Of course, with the mosh pits, or like we have a wall of death at the end of every show. We're always encouraging safety. If you see something, say something. And there has been times at shows where people have to get kicked out for being too rowdy or being creepy. But it seems like it's a real community effort.
Yeah.
And, the fans always keep us informed of things. And we're always looking as well to see, you know, is the show going as smoothly as it could? And
Yeah.
we're really fortunate that, yeah, we have a really awesome fan base that has been loyal for so many years, and they really like prove to be like the kindest, most respectful people.
Talk to us about which song has felt like extra good to share, maybe unexpectedly good to share on this tour for Tunnel Vision.
For sure. Wow, that's a great question. I mean, honestly, the title track Tunnel Vision was kind of one of those in the studio that took a bit to figure out. And when you're so
Mhm.
close to the song and you keep getting at it and hearing it like thousands of times, you kind of lose perspective of how the song actually sounds.
Mhm.
So it's been amazing getting to play it live and see that it's a lot of people's favorites, and that a
Mhm.
song about just kind of feeling confused and unsure about life, which is something that I think a lot of us are feeling, is so relatable. And I'm constantly proven that whatever song, no matter how niche it is, there's a lot of people that are drawn to that, which is really cool.
Why did this song end up being the title track? Like, what about it did you feel was emblematic and stood for the entire record?
I think honestly, a lot of the songs were coming from a place of like, I don't know myself. I don't know what's going on in the world. I hate that everything's changing. I hate the political atmosphere. Like, just a lot of disturbance internally and outwardly. And Tunnel Vision is kind of like not trying to offer a solution, which I think is what a lot of the album's about, is like, I just don't know, but this is what I'm feeling right now. And I have to say something and get it out of my body. And I kind of like that the album doesn't really have a solution, because I think that right now a lot of people don't know what the solution is. It's almost more relatable to just throw your hands up and be like, sometimes life sucks and it's weird.
The hole's getting deeper. I don't think my body was built for this.
That's the title track to Tunnel Vision, the new Beach Bunny album. We have Lily Trafilio here with us on SHEROES, and I'm Carmel Holt. This is the third full-length album. So you said that whenever you feel lost, you turn to music. Talk to us a little bit about the why of that.
I mean, I guess in like a lot of ways, it's sort of universal to put on a song to sort of match your mood if you're going through something. Mm-hmm. And I guess for me, instead of like a diary or journal or something, I've just always wanted to put words to my emotion. And I guess that music has just been a good way to channel that. And in a lot of ways, like, I find that after the song can be developed and after recording and after it comes out, it's like I've sung this emotion into the ground and I've sort of worked through it. Like it honestly is quite therapeutic in a lot of ways. And it's really cool, especially when it's the public song. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not alone. And I think knowing that no matter what I put out, I will have that gratification of, okay, I've worked through this emotion and other people have seemingly always related, makes me feel very safe in feeling all these kind of scary or uncertain things.
Well, because I was thinking when I read that sentence, well, my gosh, I mean, it must have been so fucking scary to feel like you weren't going to write a song again if that was the thing that helps you find your way.
100%.
How did you get out of that? How did you find your way through?
I mean, honestly, I think it was just like pressure overload. Like so much of it was a mental game. And, you know, I had gone to LA under some label pressure to work with a bunch of producers and just try to crank out anything. And I did actually end up having a lot of fun, but I think after that realized like, okay, I don't think forcing any songs out is helping. Even the songs I did make, they were some other creation. Like that's not what Beach Bunny's sound is going to be. I need to like get back to my roots and back to myself. And just pausing and kind of not doing anything creative for a couple months really helped. Like I just focused on resting and consuming things. And we live in such a world that's like, don't stop hustling. That
Grind
it's sort
culture,
of hard to not do that, you know? To just be like, oh, I'm going to sit back, especially after a viral moment, you know, everyone's telling you, keep cranking it out. Don't stop. You need to like keep this audience you just gained that has a really short attention span. But I'm glad that ultimately the break helped. And then it was like the floodgates opened and we were just jamming all the time. And the song, I mean, even right now, the songs just keep coming. So hopefully if I feel stuck again, I'll remember that and remember to just take a pause.
Yeah, I mean, you actually literally took the question right out of my mouth because my follow-up was going to be, so what is your takeaway from that? Like lessons learned going forward in what I can only assume will be a very long career ahead of you. Like what things have you taken away from that, if you wouldn't mind sharing with us as like a roadmap to sustainability?
For sure. I mean, I think from a creative standpoint, part of the pressure was coming from, okay, I need to cater my art for other people. And in the background, knowing you can't please everybody. So that's sort of an impossible task. So I think that creativity for yourself is always going to lead to something beautiful, even if no one sees it, just doing it for you. And yeah, like I said, just like knowing when is a time to consume art, because truly, I mean, that's going to inspire you in all kinds of ways. And it doesn't even have to be music. Like it could be sitting in silence and people watching. Like you'll probably get something out of it. But I think we can only know that little voice and like what we're doing if we're not listening to everyone else's voices being like, okay, your creativity is a product. How are we selling it? How are we appealing to the fans? Like, you got to tune that out. At least I need to tune that out.
Absolutely. Is there anything about your experience of that particular area of like getting pushed to go work with all these different producers and like writing this thing and going along with it even? What parts of your experience do you think have to do with gender?
That's a great question. I mean, it does seem that you repeatedly hear, at least from the mainstream kind of pop girls, that there needs to be like a constant reinvention to stay relevant. So even in the more indie world, like, I mean, I do think there is pressure for each album to have a very strong aesthetic and a very strong message. And, I mean, there's ego in music. So, of course, you want the songs to do well. You want the music to be liked. And I do think that something that's sometimes at the back of my mind that maybe some of my peers don't have to consider is I feel this urgency to put out as much music as possible on the off chance I do want to become a mom. I know that there will be some sort of hiatus or change that I have to make. And since I'm 29, it does feel like there's a bit of a ticking time clock. So, I feel like that urgency comes out, maybe not in the songs, but just at business meetings and stuff. Like, let's keep going, guys, because I don't know what that's going to look like.
Right. Yeah. No, it's a big question. And I have been exploring that corner of women's experience of being in music from the beginning of SHEROES 5 years ago. Like, I don't have kids, so I don't know why. I didn't really think about children as being part of this conversation, which is fucking ridiculous because obviously it's part of this conversation. And like, suddenly I realized that especially during the pandemic, like everyone was like, ooh, we have a break. Like we could,
for sure.
Wow, this is a good time to get pregnant and like start a family because we're not touring.
True.
So it was crazy. Like suddenly I was like talking to so many people that were getting pregnant. I mean, Bethany Cosentino was a perfect example, actually.
For sure.
But it's also been equally not just talking to people about the choice to get pregnant during a break, but also equally, I feel like I should, but maybe I don't want to, or do I feel like I don't want to because the industry is telling me that I shouldn't? Am I having worries about doing this because once I become a mom, am I not hot anymore? And the industry's telling me that, like, you got to be hot to do this job. Like, all these questions, So I think this is fucking fascinating. And also, I was like, ooh, is this also part of the reason why we don't see as many women aging in music as our male counterparts because they don't have to go through that process and especially don't need to make the choice of leaving for a while and coming back and then having to start up the whole machine again. I don't know.
Yeah.
Balls in your... I'm just throwing that big old ball over to you, Lily. What do you think?
100%. I mean, yeah, it is a million questions constantly flying around. I mean, two thoughts I had off that is, I mean, something that I remember people were like, oh, this is like kind of unusual that she was singing about this, was on the Brat record that Charlie XCX made. She had something about like stopping her birth control and should they start raising a family. And I think people were like, well, why is she putting this on like an electro pop album? And it's like, because she's 33 and she's a girl in music and it's top of mind,
Right.
So that's one thought. And then another thing that kind of did help give me, I guess, like a third path in my brain was when we did that show with Allie and AJ. Allie had a 8-month-old who was present at the show. And it's
amazing.
Like, okay, dad's going to go watch the kiddo while I go rock on stage. And I was like, oh, like, was this his first flight? I was probably saying the wrong things, to be honest. Like, oh, it must be so hard being a mom, saying all the things. And
Right.
she's like, oh, he's been to Australia. Like, I'm not stopping my career because I'm a mom. Like, we're just going to make it work, which was inspiring and also, whoa, how do you do that?
Right.
But, it is something that I think a lot of people are thinking about at my age, for sure.
Wow. Well, good luck. Best of luck. We're here for you if you want to talk about it. Lily Trafilio here with us on SHEROES. The new album is called Tunnel Vision. Should we talk about violence? The song, Violence.
Absolutely.
Probably the most politically outspoken song on this record. Fuck yeah, I say.
For sure. For sure. I mean, that one was a little bit, it was like a necessary track, I think, because a lot of the album is covering, again, mental health and uncertainty. It's like we're not living in a vacuum. Why am I feeling like the world's crumbling around us? Oh, because there's war happening and there is violence everywhere and the news cycle is constantly bombarding us with horrific things. So it felt like a part of the narrative that like had to be included when discussing all the other topics. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward and the kids at the show definitely get it and love it. And, I think that Beach Bunny fans, like I never feel like I have to like explain the art in that way to them. So it's a very straightforward song. It's a very intense song. And, it's fun to write about breakups and stuff, but like there's some real crazy shit happening in the world that needs to be directly talked about and figured out because we can't keep being complicit to all this violence around us.
Violence, violence, bleak and rotten. Got a head filled up with garden heart.
That's track 8, Violence, on the new Beach Bunny album called Tunnel Vision. Lily Trafilio, our guest today on SHEROES, and I'm Carmel Holt. Okay, 2 more SHEROES topics before we wrap up, Lily. One is you mentioned switching up your team and you've talked about your bandmates. I wanted to talk about intentionality of choosing who is around you, working with a diverse team or not a diverse team, your experiences on both sides of that, where you've landed now, because you seem very, very happy with where you are now. Tell us a little bit about that and who you like to work with.
For sure. I mean, we've definitely worked with a lot of people throughout our career, but I think that the best case is when the team is diverse and isn't a boys' club. And there's been years where, with touring and stuff, I'd been the only girl, and it was a little bit rough. But, Claire is in the band right now. She plays guitar, and we ride and die for each other. In our last London show, we also had B, who is a lady sound engineer, which is surprisingly uncommon. Like,
really uncommon.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
And, she even had moments on tour where she wasn't being maybe taken seriously and stuff. So I think it's just really nice when you have that solid team foundation to be like, okay, well, how do we resolve this issue then? Like, sure, maybe you've hit other kinds of roadblocks in your career, but, we're going to advocate for you and at least emotionally support you at these venues and situations and things like that. Just feels like it's nice to have camaraderie. But yeah, I mean, respect goes a long way. And I've noticed that people show their true colors eventually. So if someone seems a little bit off or misogynistic, you'll find out, certainly.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we talk about that a lot. I mean, we're going to get to our SHEROES Magic Wand Wish, where we try to manifest change for women and non-binary, queer, and BIPOC folks in the industry. And very common wish is to have more women and non-binary folks on the tech side, sound engineers, front of house, LDs,
For sure.
producers. The days of the Svengali male producer, like, we love them. There's many very great men to work with out there, so I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. But man, there's some great femme producers out there too. And they're just not getting the recognition or the work.
100%.
I wanted to just circle back real quick before we wrap up to talk about presentation and your journey with, you mentioned prom queen and coming through some tough times with body image stuff. Can you tell listeners who aren't familiar with Beach Bunny and that story and share with us a little bit about how you have gone through that and to the other side of being hopefully more self-confident and feeling good about your body?
Yeah. I mean, this was like early 20s. It's a rough time for a lot of people. But I do think a lot of issues I was having with my own body and aesthetics and things were definitely a product from probably some of the media I was consuming. You know, growing up like in the early 2000s, that was also like a really common messaging that does stick with you even when you get, past your teen years. Yeah, and I struggled with some disordered eating and such, and certainly peers around me also did. But I think music and honestly aging in a lot of ways helped me come to terms with my own body image and also my own confidence. I think there's like a large degree of unlearning you do in your 20s, some consciously, some unconsciously. And, I will say too, as the years have gone by, I mean, it's never going to be perfect, but I would say in the last 6 years, there's been a ton of body positivity movements, and you're seeing a wide diversity of sizes and different types of people. And yeah, I mean, it's just beautiful to see. And in the queer spaces too, I mean, people are showing up in all different kinds of ways. There's not just one type of body. There's not just one type of way you're supposed to look or supposed to be. And it's awesome that we can celebrate that. And yeah, it's brought me a lot of confidence seeing people live authentically and just being true to themselves. It inspires me all the time.
I love to hear it. Lily, it's been awesome to spend this time with you. Before we go, are you ready to make some magic?
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to give you the SHEROES magic wand. And with it, you can change anything in the music industry for women, non-binary, queer, BIPOC folks, anyone who is doing this job of music, this crazy job of music, and maybe not getting the same opportunities or platforms as others. First wave of the wand, it's like a first thought, best thought thing. What would you change?
I mean, that's so difficult. Let me think. Because there's so many ways it could go. I mean, I just wish that everyone viewed their coworkers as a person first and not a woman or a trans person or all these other labels that we put on each other. I think just having like equal respect and empathy is something that goes such a long way. And I know that me and a lot of my peers that are also, non-white often get seen as something first and then a person. So I think if we can just all see each other as equals and get these misogynists out of there, that would be awesome.
I love this wish. May it be so. Lily Trafilio, thank you for being with us on SHEROES. What song should we go out with today off the new record?
How about Just Around the Corner?
Great. Anything you want to tell us about it before we go in?
Yeah, I mean, it just talks a lot about how the Western world is going through a lot of things. And I hope that we get to the other side of all the hardship and sending love and light to everyone out there that is going through a hard time right now.
With thanks to Lily Trafilio. Thank you for being with us on SHEROES.
Thank you so much for having me.
Many thanks to Lily Trafilio for being with us. The new Beach Bunny album, Tunnel Vision, is available now on AWAL. SHEROES is produced by me, is mixed and mastered by Kelly Drake. Our original theme music is by Lucius. Our podcast is distributed by Talkhouse. SHEROES is also a nationally syndicated radio show. Please visit SHEROESradio.com to find out more. Keep in touch on Instagram at SHEROES Radio, and please consider leaving us a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also subscribe to to our new YouTube channel, SHEROES Productions. SHEROES is 100% independent and is made possible through the support of our public radio affiliates and now listeners like you. Through a new partnership with the nonprofit AIR, the Association of Independents in Radio, we've launched our very first fundraising campaign. Text SHEROES to 53555. That's SHEROES to 53555 to make a tax-deductible donation through AIR or visit SHEROESradio.com. Thank you for supporting independent, femme, and queer-produced audio and storytelling. And until next time, remember, music is our superpower. I'm Carmel Holt. Thanks for listening. Also from SHEROES Productions, take a journey on the road to Joni, an Ambie Award-nominated 10-episode series celebrating the legacy and impact of Joni Mitchell. Distributed by Talkhouse. Subscribe now to The Road to Joni wherever you get your podcasts.